All right, we are recording. So this is the Blue Crocus Experience with Vandervalk, and I'm here tonight with Sam of Sam's the Man Tree Service out of Ohio. And we're basically going to chat about his business, some of the fun stuff, some of the bad stuff, where he's hoping to go, where he's come from, and kind of just get to know each other a little bit, and hopefully you as listeners can pull some nuggets out of it. What I usually get people to do is just give a quick intro, Sam, and then we can roll from there.
So obviously my name's Sam. I'm a young arborist. I'm 20 years old now. I've owned my own business since I was 13, and this will be the year and a half of our successful tree service that we've started. So I started that in, I think, junior year of high school. We started fully legit, insured, and licensed with the state.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's amazing. I love. I saw that you had started young. I didn't know how old we were, but 20 is fantastic to have already been running for a year and a half. You say?
Yeah. I just turned February. I just turned 20.
That's awesome. So maybe talk to us a bit about, why tree service? What, like you were saying earlier, you did start landscaping when you were 14. Did that lead you to?
Yeah, so I've always, I never came from a whole lot, so I've always wanted to try and, find a way. I was always sick of, being, less fortunate, which is fine, but I started mowing lawns when I was like 12.
You had a dream.
I started cutting grass because I saw this guy on YouTube cutting grass. I was like, this guy makes like $70,000 a year cutting lawns. So I started cutting the grass, and then that led into obviously your mulch jobs, your shrub trimming, small tree trimming. And I always liked the tree trimming the most. Anything that we did, it was all from the ground, obviously, or ladders. Yep. We had that phase.
Yeah.
And I got out of landscaping. It was really good money. I mean, on a good week, in high school, I'd bring like $3,000 or $4,000 home.
Nice.
But it was a big headache. It was all grunt work. There's nothing special about it. And I just got sick of how picky the customers were. It was like, oh, you left a blade of grass in my mulch, or, oh, hey, I saw you left with some more mulch. Do I get a refund? And it's like, it was just a little bit too simple for me.
Yep.
So I've done other stuff. I went to tech school to become a mechanic. That was all right, but that was a little too complicated for me. I didn't like all the stages you had to go through, like just replace parts or do this or that. It was just a little too much for me, a little too by the book. Yep. And then landscaping was no book at all. And so I found my happy medium in tree work. Nice. I actually fell into it on accident, but.
So what's different about, what kind of checks all the boxes for you with tree work?
So the thing is I like about tree work is you very rarely have someone telling you how to do something or what to do. The nice thing I like is I'm terrible with a tape measure or any measuring tools at all.
Yeah.
And the cool thing was, like, you need to be accurate and precise, if you're popping tops or, falling a big tree, but it's all in your head. Very rarely you ever see someone actually measure. We have a measuring card, and we have the stick method where you hold the stick out. We do that, but for the most part, it's your know-how. So the better you know, the better you perform.
Right.
So that's what I liked about it. It was like, that's cool. I also like the little bit of a thrill factor. I've always been like I've been a pansy. Like my whole life, I'm a big pansy. I'm always a worry bird, super safe. And this just kind of seemed exciting to me. And I still am like that on every job. But that's what makes
which is a good balance, I think.
Yeah, it makes me super safe. Sometimes it gets in the way. I'll be like climbing and think like, oh, this tree's not strong enough for this. And I'm probably right 50% of the time, but the other 50% I end up going to get a lift.
Right.
But I mean, it's never wrong. Right? Yeah, never a wrong thing to do. But, I could be making more money, but it's not about the money for me. I just like doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. So how many, is it just you right now? I see in your cover photo there, you've got 2 trucks going.
Yeah, so it's just me. So the older guys who taught me and how I'm doing it, I'm gonna get out of doing it this way for now, but you subcontract with other companies.
Okay.
So the whole time it's like, I've had friends help me on the weekends, or I have friends help me. And I have one guy who, I want to make fully legit and payroll this and that, and I'm just waiting for him to kind of agree to do that. He's just like a helper.
Yeah.
But that's how I was taught, because it's cheaper and easier to do it, and then you get good guys. So
So rather
you
than jumping in full time, you can kind of ease into it a little bit more.
yeah, and when I first started, I was really helping a lot of companies out, and I did it on purpose to learn from everyone. Everyone had something different. And then when I started helping out bigger companies, just filling in as a climber, I started to see, all right, this guy has all this equipment. His jobs go really easily. He has a lot of overhead, but he does 6 jobs a day. This guy has all this massive equipment, but he has none of his crew knows what they're doing, and he only does 1 job a day. So, and then I found the one guy who really taught me a lot, my main mentor, had nothing, and we were faster, more efficient, and we brought home more money. We didn't charge as much, but we still brought home more with less.
Right, right. So
So
when
that
you
was
say
a
less, you mean like not a lift truck or anything like that?
chip truck. And we actually had our chipper stolen. So I wouldn't say stolen, but it was sold from out under us.
Okay. It's kind of
And
stolen.
yeah, and still made money. It was like, it's really hard. I wouldn't really say you can make good money in trees without a chipper and a chip truck, but that's what I based my whole my future on in tree work.
Yeah.
I have a bad truck right now. I have 2 trucks. One's way too small. One's really good, but it's bad. Unreliable,
Okay.
broken, miles on it. Doors don't close. It's really rough.
You got to start
But
somewhere, right?
yeah, and that's the thing. There's a few things I think everyone should buy new or really good condition. It's not worth the risk. You need a chipper and you need a truck. You could do tree work with those too. You don't need the dingoes or the mini skids. You don't need the bucket truck. You don't need a lift or a crane. You still need to go make money. You could do it with just a chipper and a truck. So I want those pieces of equipment to be brand new or almost new.
Right, right. So you're saying you're not quite there with the truck right now, but that's what you
No,
want.
I have 2 trucks, so I have a backup, which is nice, because the one's usually in the shop. I say my mechanic owns it more than me.
Nice.
It's just like it's a 450 dump
Yep,
truck with a box built on it.
yep.
It holds a lot of chips. It dumps well. It's just unreliable. The owners beat it. Then we have a smaller truck, which is my truck I've owned for many years. It's just small though, 4 yards. That doesn't
Sure,
do a whole lot, and you got to hand unload it.
sure, sure. Yeah.
So it
But
works though.
you're making it work, right?
Yeah, we didn't have that truck for like a month, and we had one of our best weeks last week with the small truck.
That's awesome.
And a chipper. So
Yeah. So talk to me, I guess, this is where you are now. What's like your 5-year goal?
5-year goal. I
Or,
was
or or what goals do you have?
I was so yeah, I want to be small, but I want to be very capable still.
Yep.
I want to be a good crew. I found the value in just good guys. So I'm trying to be more of like I'm trying to find like a clean image. I'm trying to be in 5 years. I expect to be the company that people call and say he can do it. Don't worry, like they're really professional. And right when they see us, they just kind of like, oh, they just ease away, like, oh, all right, yeah, because customers freak out when you take trees out or you're climbing.
Yeah.
I want customers to see us and be like, these guys know what they're doing,
Right.
just from the look. So I want clean equipment. I want clean guys. One of the biggest things is like I don't like a lot of swearing on the jobs. I don't like screaming or yelling. It's actually on my business card. It says we will not yell on your property.
We'll just run
Right.
really loud chainsaws.
Yeah, and I've seen people and it looks unprofessional to me.
Yeah.
I want to be like a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And same within the tree industry, online and um, through organizations like ISA and TCIA.
Yeah.
I want to be kind of like a flagstone for the new upcoming arborists and new companies.
That's all. I think that's great goals. That's awesome. Very cool. So, you're 12, 14, whatever, doing landscaping. Just to circle back around a little bit, what you started to realize you liked that better, but what kind of kicked you over into actually doing tree work?
Uh, I was watching YouTube one day, and I was really bored, and I saw this guy, Human, Corey. A lot of people know him on YouTube. He makes really funny YouTube videos. And I saw him, and I was like, man, that looks really cool. And I had a client ask me to cut down some trees. And I was like, oh, man, I need that climbing gear and this and that. And at the time, I worked at a rental yard, fixing like bobcats and stuff. And a landscaping company offered me a job. They saw my trucks at tree work, mulch, landscaping. So I went to the landscape shop, and I guess I came too late for like an interview.
Okay.
And their tree guy was still hanging around in the shop about to go do a job. I went up to him, like, yeah, I think I work for you guys now. He's like, oh, yeah, jump in the truck. I'm like, all right. I'm like, what are we doing? He's like, trees. I'm like, I thought this was a landscaping company. He's like, yeah, we do trees too.
And
Little did I
were
know,
you?
I just turned 17.
That's awesome.
And he just like jumped in the truck with me. I'm like, oh, so you do trees often? This is a certified arborist I'm talking to. And he's like, yeah. He's like, we do trees a lot. And I start doing tree jobs with them. And then I come back to the shop at the end of the day, and they're like, hey, that's our guy. And he's like, not anymore. So I was like, all right. I'm like, you could teach me how to climb and this and that. And I was like, that's awesome. And because I had this job that I needed to climb. And I would have died if I would have tried it. I would have. I bought a Klein set of spikes. I bought a flip line with nothing, just a flip line. That's all I thought you needed, 8-foot flip line. Yeah. And I had an old utility pole saddle I found. Yeah, I would have been toast.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good, eh?
It was big quaking aspens over like a house. And he ended up just
house probably would have been toast as well, eh?
Yeah, the guy ended up dropping them. 3 liters, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, wow, he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of fell into it, but I was always interested in it. I never actually went to take any initiative. I didn't even know where to start, but I just fell into it.
That's
but
awesome.
I've always liked trimming trees. I always thought chainsaws were cool, and cutting trees on at the house and whatnot, small like apple trees or something. Yeah. We just did the back cut with a rope on it or a car on it.
And, and hope it goes in the right direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
You pull it hard enough, it will.
Yeah, I had a Crown Vic with a big cable line on it. We just gassed it and just, hey, look, I know what I'm doing.
That's hilarious.
It was awesome. Terrible.
That's so funny. That's awesome. So you kind of fell into that when you were 17, and then what happened after that?
So I started working with the guy. I was actually pretty motivated to do a lot. I was working 3 jobs at that time. I was in school still.
I mean, you're 20 and you have a business, so I think that goes.
Yeah, I was. Right? Yeah, when I was 17, I was working. I was going to school. Right after school, I went to the rental yard for a 2-hour shift.
Okay.
After that, I went to a car dealership, a luxury car dealership. Nice. It was a Buick dealership in Cadillac, and it was like. And then I went there for the rest of the night, and then we did tree work with the other guy. He wasn't every day busy, and then I ended up quitting the rental yard and just doing those 2. And then my side hustle, I always did a side hustle of my own work.
Yeah.
And I quit that and went with this guy, and within about, I really wanted to learn. I'm always big on learning. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I learned my knots after about a month, bowling. I learned all the tools of the trade, pulleys, blocks, porter wraps, engaging the clutch on the chipper. That's the biggest one I can't teach people how to do for some known reason. And I started climbing 2 months after. It was hilarious. I posted something in a Facebook page about, hey, what was your first climb like? And everyone's like, awful. It was so hard. And I remember going 15 feet up. It took me 10 minutes. I was a big guy. And the one thing I liked about tree climbing was well, I was always a chubby kid and I could never do it, and all my
Yeah.
friends did.
Yeah.
And now I could do it because we have some mechanical advantage, which is
Yeah.
nice. You know, you get your rope over or you spike up. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
look at me now, guys. And the same friends who climbed trees when I was younger, they help me out and they work for me.
Yeah.
And they won't do the things I'll do, which is
That's
hilarious. I'm like, you see how it comes around?
Yeah. You
But yeah, I
showed
worked
them.
with that guy. I worked with the guy, you know, and he was real big. The reason he said he wouldn't have hired someone so young. The reason he did was because I was so new to it. I had no bad habits. I had no opinions on anything. I was just clean. I was
You just
ready
did
to learn.
what he told you, right?
Yeah, and I was ready to learn. You know, I had nothing, and yeah, I mean, he took me under his wing and he taught me really well. And I feel like now I'm teaching him because now I have all this knowledge about new stuff too. And he's like, "What?"
Right.
So,
Right. That's awesome. So you work with him for a few years, and then you decide you want to start doing it kind of
well,
full
we
time. Are
still,
you full time now doing it, or are you still doing a bunch of?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I went full time about well, I consider because I own the tree service, you know, about a year and a half ago I started. So I've been full time since then because what he pays me is subcontracting. I pay taxes into it. So I'm not his employee, but we still work together on a lot of stuff. You know,
Sure.
he's really good at dropping trees. I mean, it's hilarious on how much you can underbid something because he could just drop it
Yeah.
and everyone else is like, we need the crane, we need this, we need that. And he's like, I need the 66. I'm like, all right. So like we did a lot clearing a few days ago and I didn't know what these trees were. I was like, I've never seen these before. They were sassafras, which are not very popular around us at all.
Yeah.
And dropped like 22 of them. And then we dropped 3 pretty big oaks. The one tips were at like 115 and we had to set lines and he's all big about the 2-to-1, 3-to-1 with the rope pullers and, you know, cranking over back leaners. And it's pretty insane. And he's taught me all that. And I love helping out other companies and scaring them on what stuff I'll drop
Yeah.
that they think is nuts.
Right.
I'm like, no, man, you just get a 3-to-1 on it and you just plop it right in the front yard and we just clean it up real quick.
Yeah.
And I've even had owners like tell the crew like don't let them drop trees. Like I've never had an accident, but it's just, you know, in your mind, you know, if you don't know what you're doing, you're like, oh, that's an insurance claim waiting to happen. But
Right.
it's a science to everything, you know. It's like people who build lifts. Like,
Yeah.
like they really know what they're doing. It's not just like, yeah, big counterweight, that'll do it.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. That's awesome. So yeah. So you're basically like, is it all word of mouth jobs, or is it still a lot of subcontracting that you're doing now?
So I've gotten subcontracting from word of mouth. I reached out to all the tree services last year saying, hey, I want to do, or a year and a half ago, saying like, hey, I'm a new guy, you know, I want to learn. If you ever need a hand on a job, I'm willing to learn. I want $20 an hour.
Yep.
And then I got that. And then this year I called every single landscaping company and said, I want your tree jobs. You know, I'll give you a percentage of a cut, this and
Nice.
that. And literally all my business is either through Facebook, yard signs, or word of mouth.
Yep.
And Facebook's just huge for me. I mean, that's how we connected on Facebook.
Yep.
And the local, I wouldn't say it was Facebook though, it's locality. You know, I always went to city events. I've always went to, you know, during storm work, we just had a tornado hit about 2 weeks ago. I posted all over everywhere within our town, the next town, and the town over, free storm cleanup, you know, or it was a free emergency services. If the tree's on your house, your driveway, your car, or is about to fall on your house, your driveway, your car,
Yeah.
we will come out for absolutely free and fix the situation, no cleanup.
Yeah.
And we got so much business from that. And it was
Did
great because
people you typically have the upsell of the cleanup in there? Like they probably wanted you to do the whole
well,
job.
you know what's funny? I didn't have a chipper at the time, and the chipper I was borrowing was down. So
Okay.
I literally did most of that for free. And the thing is, you know, people gave me tips, obviously. So I was like, you know, we probably brought home like $200 a day.
Yep.
I'd pay the guys, and probably lose $100 a day doing that. But the thing is, everyone saw us out. Everyone on the social media was posting about it, and the word of mouth from that. And then also we did sell some cleanups. I'm like, hey, if you don't mind waiting like 3 weeks for our chipper to get fixed,
We got you.
we can come out and help. But if not, call this guy.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing is being friendly with other tree services. Most of us, we're pretty good around here. There's a few that are just kind of like,
They don't like playing with the rest of the people.
yeah, it's like there's enough work to go around. There's too much work for any of us. I mean, everyone could say that, but
yeah,
that was a big thing is the companies I help out, they'll help me out,
nice.
And they do. I had a truck break, or I thought it broke, and the one guy was asking me about it. He's like, go grab one of mine. And he's like, it's in the yard. You know where the key is. He's like, go grab it if you need it. I'll work something out with you. I'm like,
that's
cool.
Huge. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's always good to hear when people are on the up and up like that and willing to help each other out.
Yeah, I mean, if you know someone who has a crane and you need a crane job done, call them or give it to them.
Yeah.
And if the guy has the problem is when you're a small guy, the bigger companies love the small jobs, so they usually don't give them away.
Right.
But they always ask for your help on something, or driving a truck, or hey, do you know a dump site? Local, we're out in blah, blah, blah. And I send them addresses. I'm like, go here, go here, go here. And they're like, how do you know all these? I'm like, because I'm a small guy. I need to work with what I got. So I use free dumping.
Yeah. That's awesome. Very cool. What would you say is the hardest part about owning the business and operating like right now? I mean, COVID aside, I don't know if that's affected you much, but like assuming that's not a thing, what would you say is the hardest thing for you?
Right now, the hardest thing for me would be guys I have some good guys that they want to learn, but it seems to not stick as well as when I was learning.
Yeah,
maybe it's because I really liked it and they just kind of like it, or maybe they just like the money, who knows. But I know the biggest hardest part that I was getting upset about, I actually stopped doing about 2-3 months ago. Well, no, 4 months ago, I actually stopped the business for a while. I said it was too hard because of the money. I couldn't get any capital to start up.
sure.
I was going on bids and getting blown out of the water because I had to factor in the rental. I had to factor in the time to go pick up the rental, and I had to factor in the trucks, because I had a truck down, and I was like, because I'm running on all this old crappy equipment.
Yeah.
So I stopped doing tree work for myself. I worked for another company for like 2 weeks, and I said, you know what? No, I got to keep going back to what I was doing. But getting a loan.
What made you switch back?
I just started grinding it out. I just said, you know
missed
what?
it,
I said, if I got to go drive an hour to go borrow a friend's chipper, so be it. And also, I hate working with other companies sometimes. Like, that company, they're a great company. They weren't a good fit for me. Yep. And so I was like, I couldn't stand it.
No, that's fair.
One thing I'll say is I'll never put plywood down as much as I've ever done with them.
For the trucks to go out on the lawn or whatever.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna say the name of them, but like there's a maple tree I remember. They needed like 3 branches of deadwood knocked out.
Yeah.
And we had 2 climbers, and I was on the ground. They were doing crane work. We have like 4 groundies, crane operator, climber, and a bucket truck doing the crane removal. And the owner of the company was on the crane, and it's like, we need to trim these trees. I'm just sitting there, nothing to do. I'm like, so I did one trim real quick. It took me like 10 minutes. And I started throwing my line in the next tree, and they like yelled at me to stop. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, go get the bucket there. I'm like, it's like about to pour rain. You're going to sink the bucket.
Yeah.
Sinks the bucket. Takes like 2 hours to set plywood to get it back up. Does the trim in like 2 seconds. And then we have to unload all this plywood back on the truck. I was like, I can't do this. Guys, I was just sitting there doing nothing. So
you wanted to get back out to hustling.
Yeah, I hate hourly too. That was another thing. I don't want to be paid by the hour.
Yeah.
Or if I do, I want more per hour because I'm worth 2 guys per hour.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm always doing something.
Yep.
My lunch break's like 10 minutes, and yeah, we're efficient. I don't like sitting around. But the hardest thing I would say starting is you need money. You can start from the bottom, and I did, but I'm telling you, I got a little bit of an angel investor that helped me out, sort of. I wouldn't say it's an angel investor, just someone who pushed through my loan application,
Sure. Yeah.
and they after I went into some debt, I started realizing we're making more money faster, easier, and our name's looking better.
Yeah.
You could start, with a chuck and duck for $2,000, $3,000 off Craigslist, and then you can get, a crappy truck and struggle. But I'm telling you, you're not competing with other companies around here.
Right.
I was getting blown out of the water on quotes. I mean, I'd be at $1,000, someone would be at $600. I was like, how do I even, I need the money, but I can't even afford to do it that cheap because I don't have the equipment and it takes me all day. So I ended up just jumping in the water. I just got a new chipper.
Nice. Is that the one that you were unclogging before they call?
No, my new chipper actually broke. So
that's the worst.
it was it's a brand new model, and it has a brand new engine on it. So from what I'm hearing is, it's not uncommon to have problems with something brand new.
Sure.
But the wiring harness wasn't matched to the new motor that they're using this year. Mm-hmm. So I guess the amps it put out were a little too much, fried something.
Gotcha.
But the monthly payment, for something is worth the money you're gonna make. Sure. That was huge for me. I never understood that.
That's a bit of a mindset shift, right?
Yeah, and I've never been in debt, and so now I'm sitting here like worried. I'm stacking money away for, what if I break my leg? What if I do this? What if I do that?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what if the big business owners of like the owner of McDonald's or something never said, I'm going to open that one store? Well, now look where he's at.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, would you say for people to try and get a loan as soon as possible, or?
No, depending on how you are, if you're experienced and you're like a veteran and, you've just been climbing for other people for years, maybe, but you still might be a good climber, but you might not be a good business owner.
Sure.
It might not be the best idea. And the one thing is, it was big, is you got to have the things to back it up. So people were saying when your rentals cost more than your monthly payment on your equipment, then jump for it. I think you could jump a little bit before that point, because once you have that equipment, you'll be doing more jobs.
Yeah.
But I mean, a loan for sure is fast track stuff.
Yeah.
You just got to make sure you're ready for it. And I've been waiting, and you don't realize how ready you were until you do it. And you're like, holy crap, now everything's clicking.
That's awesome. And so that was a couple months ago you got the loan?
3 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
Yeah, it was just like, I mean, it's nothing huge. I just got financed for a chipper.
Yeah.
But
that's
for me to get financed at 20 years old for a chipper that costs more than a small house, that's huge.
Yeah.
And the value it's brought me from just owning it and just having it in the driveway ready to go is insane. And now I have people calling me more saying, oh, I see you got a new chipper, like neighbors. They're like, yeah, can you chip this up for me? I need a quote. And it's just like, I've gotten 3 jobs just from people in the neighborhood seeing the new chipper.
Wow, that's awesome.
Like, okay. And it's also, so the one big thing is I got a 12-inch, which I wanted the 9, to be cheaper just to start off with. Get what you can maximize. So now that we have a 12-inch, it's like, all right, I bid this job for 4 hours. I was catching up on work, assuming I'd have the older chipper, my friend's chipper.
Yeah.
And it's like, I bid the shop for 4 hours. We did it in 3. I bid the shop for 2 hours. We did it in 1. It's like, why is that? And I'm looking at how fast this chipper is, because we have auto feed. I've never ran a chipper with auto feed.
Yeah.
So now it's like really, it's just go.
Just
And
goes,
it's
right?
faster, it's easier. There's nothing crazy going on with it except for that wiring issue, which really
Yeah.
bummed me out. But the dealer brought out a brand new chipper for me within 2 hours.
Wow.
So that's worth it. And like the equipment, like I was thinking about getting into, like, I'm now seeing production work out of me and my guy. It's
Yeah.
like, this is awesome.
So you're gonna start to scale so fast now.
I hope so. I
Yeah.
I want another truck, and I want a skid steer, a mini skid steer,
Yeah.
because I look for like the bottlenecks in our company. Our bottleneck that we just got over was the chipper, and then the bottleneck we just got over again. It was a temporary one because I was going to get my truck back from the mechanic, and I did. Was the capacity we could take? We can only take 3 or 4 yards.
Right.
So now we're back with our 12-yard truck, and now the next bottleneck is in logs. I don't like paying to dump logs. It costs a lot. So that's why I ended up jamming this chipper, because I shoved a log through. And if you know anything about disc chippers, they hate logs. They always jam. I've never had any luck with disc chippers.
There. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
No, that's
fun.
awesome. That's awesome. I'll just go through. I didn't have anything scripted really. I just usually have some talking points here.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add uh, before we kind of wrap up with your last. I usually ask guys or girls to leave with like a tip that they would leave someone starting out, or a tip for the.
Yeah, I was about to say that sounded about right. I was going to say, so my thing for the young guys, the young arborists, the people who want to start off with is learn from as many people as you can. It's really important. Everyone will have something new to teach you.
Sure.
Everyone has their own way of doing it. I've seen, whatever industry you're in, but for me, it's trees, obviously. I've seen tree hacks, but they're really smart with money. And
Gotcha.
I've seen the best arborists on earth be terrible with money and go broke. So learn as much as you can and add it all up into like a melting pot, the melting pot or the salad bowl,
Pick out the pieces that are worth it to you.
Yeah, and you want to learn everything that you can. So on a recent job, we were doing these big Norway spruces. The biggest one was like 110 feet, and I had to climb to basically the tips because I didn't trust the ground guy to rig that top at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So I had to blast a small enough top, and I wasn't having it with the ground guy that day. I was annoyed,
Yeah.
but yeah, I had to climb all those 3 trees, and my pads gave me such a bad bruise and burn in my legs. I was like, I don't want to climb the rest of the tree. So what we ended up doing was setting a manual crane. No other the one guy taught me the manual crane. No one else wants to do it. No one else will do it. And everyone thinks I'm crazy, but hey, it comes in handy.
Yeah.
And there's also guys, who I've taught that, you need iron to do some jobs, and it's not even worth, hand doing it.
Yeah.
So learn as much as you can, watch, observe for the first few years, and go for it then. I mean,
Yeah. I do like that about your story, Sam. Is kind of you've almost shadowed these people, for lack of a better word. You've shadowed so many different arborists, and you've kind of seems like you've pulled away the things that you saw that they were doing well, and have run with
yeah,
that.
that's the thing I get so annoyed with sometimes when people are like, you're only, 20 years old. You think you know all this, kid. I'm like, I might be 20, but I have over 150 years of people's experience telling me this, and I've picked people's brains. I annoy the arborists I work with sometimes because they just say they like hang up on the phone. They're like, shut up. Like I bug the hell out of them. And
Yeah.
like we were just talking about the infusions to stop red oaks from producing acorns.
Yeah.
Like that's not something you normally learn
Yeah.
from tree cutting or a tree service. No one really does that.
Yeah.
But just being able to have that knowledge there is really important. So another thing is find a mentor in your area. As much as like my advice online will help people, and your podcasts are going to help a lot of people. There's different demographics for each area. So in my area, it's kind of like we need a cheap price. We want someone professional, but we still need a cheap price.
Right.
That's how I feel my area is. They want someone to know when they're going to come, when they're going to call. Punctuality is really important in my area, and a cheap price.
Yeah.
So, and don't ever have a mistake. That's a huge one.
Going to the mentors, I mean, people can keyboard thrash all day long, right? But having someone there to actually watch and see how they do it and how successful they are is so important, kind of for picking out those bits of the salad that are important. If we're going with that analogy here.
Yeah. I mean, like get a mentor. I tell people, find an arborist, certified. I understand that, just because you're certified doesn't mean you're a great arborist, or you could be the dumbest guy ever. You'd have to filter that yourself and realize, oh, this guy might be, but I like the certified arborist because they have a baseline, I feel like.
Yeah.
And some of the best tree guys I've met, they're not arborists at all, and they think it's a big scam. But 90% of the ones I've met who are, they're usually pretty legit.
They're held to some level, some standard practice.
Yeah, and trust your feeling. I mean, the worst thing I hate, I've had to go get someone out of a tree before, and I got so mad because I was teaching the person to climb, and they wouldn't ever listen to me. Yeah. They were using some mechanical devices, and it failed, and it jammed up, and the guy didn't know his knots. Yeah. And I told him, like, dude, this is why I told you I don't want you using these mechanical devices, because you need to know, your common knots and repelling knots for an emergency situation. I use a zigzag, and I abuse the thing, and I know I do. I go SRT with it sometimes, and I don't have anything SRT for it. I just use the zigzag.
There you go.
But I'm never using that primarily. I'm always tied in with something. Usually if it's like going up a spar or on pine trees or something, I think that's better than not being double tied in. Yeah. But I try to tell people, like, learn from the basics, be humble. Another big thing when you're starting out is that's why another reason I say don't get a loan. I want people to see and know what it's like rolling big rounds of wood from the backyard to the front yard and then picking them up with 2-3 guys into a trailer.
Yeah.
I want people to realize, what dragging brush is. One of my favorite things I like doing in tree work is dragging brush, because it's hard, so you get good at it. The hardest things you get good at. I can outrake a lot of people, and it sucks. I don't like it, but hey, I'm really good at it, and I knew I had to get good at it
to make your life easier.
The better you are at it, the faster it goes. I hate cutting firewood though, like not splitting, but like just blocking wood.
Yeah.
I hate doing it on the ground, so I do it up in the tree. And I'll chunk it down. I'd rather stay in the tree because I don't have the patience, so I find myself burying the bar in dirt once in a while.
And that cuts back on your time. You got to sharpen more.
Yeah, I don't like it. If I could do it in the air where there's no dirt, that works for me. And then just push it, and less lawn damage too.
Yeah.
You leave a big pile of brush, and you just.
There you go. That's awesome.
Always get all your gear from an approved tree store. That's a big one. No more Home Depot runs, guys. A lot of homeowners of mine are like, I got a rope you can use, and then it's like, what?
Yeah. That's not a climbing rope.
I got people holds 150 pounds. You don't weigh that much. I'm like, I weigh like 225. I weigh a lot.
Yeah, and if I fall, I weigh a lot more than that.
Yeah. So I would say, like, invest in yourself. I'm a big believer in not buying junk.
Your life's on the line, literally.
Yeah, I mean, with that, and even like trucks and stuff, I understand you got to start somewhere. So, I mean, trucks, I kind of get it. You can pay anyone to fix anything. But when in this industry, you get paid to cut trees and climb and, consult clients. You don't get paid to be fixing stuff in your garage. Exactly. And that's what my friends don't get. Like, I spend thousands of dollars with my mechanic for simple stuff. I just told my friend, I'm like, I think I'm going to have him start doing my oil changes. He's like, you're going to pay someone. I'm like, dude, oil change for me takes me an hour to do. oil change for my mechanic takes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I could be out there cutting trees for an hour, bring home $300, pay my mechanic his 50, be done with it.
Or be landing jobs or what have you.
Yeah, and when you're starting, I mean, bid honestly and be really fair with your customer, especially when you're starting. I made the mistake of, when you're starting, you need to get your name out. I made the mistake of charging a premium price, and we are still a premium service. We're really good in our area, but I just recently actually kind of like lowered prices because I'm like, I want to explode. I want to run these. I lowered prices when I heard two of the subcontractors I do for now, I drove them out of tree work. There was a big landscaping company, and a smaller to medium-sized one. And the owner of the big one said, every quote I did for tree work, he's like, I have a tree division. I had a guy who can climb, I had a chipper, and I had, people on the ground. We had like a 7-inch chipper, but they did it on the side. He's like, I couldn't compete with you.
Wow.
He's like, people said you do it faster, you were easier to work with, and you were cheaper. I want to drive the smaller guys out. Unfortunately, I know that doesn't sound as nice, but I want to get my name out as fast as possible. I want to drive guys out as fast as possible, and I go out with a bang. I don't know if you know, all my company is purple.
Yeah, I saw your truck and everything. Yeah, pretty cool.
That's a huge thing, is being unique. Yep. Everyone wants. I was listening to a podcast, and the guy was saying, everything, it's a commodity. You're going to call a tree service to cut down a tree. Every company is going to cut that tree down. What they do on the other side is what matters. How they show up for quotes, and then for some clients, just the cheapest price matters.
Yeah.
But being unique, if I see like another tree service that's white and green, or a landscaping company that's white and green, I'm going to flip out. I'm like, why don't you guys go with like orange and yellow, or like pink and blue, like really make yourself like, and then people will be like, oh, look at that, I have a giant purple truck. What do you think people just don't look at it when they're driving?
It looks awesome.
Everyone was saying like, do hot pink, and I'm like, all right, that's where I
draw the line.
So
that's awesome.
You guys, everyone's heard of on Facebook, trees.
Yeah.
Imagine Owen. Imagine how many customers hire Owen just because of his trucks. It's just like, on my dump truck, I have trees spray painted on the hood.
That's awesome.
I sent that to Owen just as a joke.
Yeah.
But differentiate, make yourself different.
Yep.
And just catch an eye. How many customers I get just from the color of the company? I mean, who knows?
It's a good color.
I think it's a sweet color, personally. And the only reason the company's that color is because my first truck was purple. And I said, whatever truck I buy, it's going to be that color. Or whatever color my truck is, my company's going to be that color, because that's the most expensive thing to change.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just saw it pull into the lot one day. I was like, I need that. So I got a purple truck.
That's awesome. That's so good. Well, I think you've given people a lot to think about. And I think the fact that you're crushing this at 20 kind of sets you above, sets you in a good spot. Not necessarily above what other people are doing, but it sets you in a good spot, and I think you have a good attitude. So I'm excited to regroup with you in a year or two and see where you are. Yeah,
that'd be awesome. It was funny. I actually tried starting a podcast. I had like 4 episodes recorded, but I didn't know how to post them anywhere. I'm terrible with technology.
Oh, give me a shout. I can help you out.
Yeah,
I'm by no means an expert. I'm just learning as I go. So.
Yeah, I wanted to get them on Spotify. That was my big one, and I didn't. I'm like, who do I even contact? Like, I was looking all over, and it says nowhere to post your podcast. So I was like, whatever. There you go. Here, I'll just finish up. I'll finish up the recording here, and then I can chat about with you off recording, and then I'll tell you all about it. Yeah, through Facebook or. Oh no, I'll just pause the recording here, and then we can carry on the conversation. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Perfect. Awesome. I appreciate it, man. And I hope that people get some good value out of this. Yeah, I hope so too, man. I hope people aren't naive and they listen to someone younger than them. That's the big one. There you go. Or at least don't give me crap for speaking my opinion. That'd be nice.
Yeah.